Hello, I'm Lawrence.
And I'm Tara.
And we're on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains
to clothing.
Specifically, the terms we use to describe them.
I'm Lawrence Brown, and this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
I decided to get dressed up for it today, so I'm feeling peak cottagecore.
And I didn't, because these are just my normal clothes. But I am really excited to do this list today, because I noticed when scanning the list of different words that we use for different clothes, not only do the same clothes have different words, but sometimes the same word is used for different clothes. And also, what are you doing?
If you haven't subscribed already, then do that now.
That's my line. That was really nice. That was really polite. In the meantime, here are some clothes and the different words we use to describe them.
This one is a sweater.
Well, it is to you, and actually it is to me right now because I am sweating profusely. I'm in 2 layers inside the house. Of course, back home, famously, we don't call this a sweater. This is known as a jumper. Do you know why?
Because you jump around in it?
I can't remember. Maybe it's something to do with sheep and jumping sheep and, I don't know, wool. I don't really remember why, but I know that now that I am wearing it, it is causing me to jump and, ironically, sweat even more. So maybe I shouldn't do that.
Apologies for the sound, folks.
Apologies for everything.
In Lawrence's defense, there might be a good reason he doesn't remember the word's origin, because its origins, a bit like Lawrence, are a bit uncertain. The lead theory is that it evolved from a Scottish English word, jupe, meaning a loose jacket or tunic, itself influenced by the old French word jupe, meaning skirt. One thing etymologists do agree on, however, is that the word has nothing to do with jumping or sheep.
But while we're on the subject of the word jumper, that brings me on to something that we've been sort of debating over, and that's the sundress that you're wearing right now, this blue dress. Apparently, some Americans might know this as a jumper. What do you call it back home? And actually, you're an American. What do you call it?
I just call it a sundress.
Have you ever heard it referred to as a jumper before?
I think maybe the little girl dresses that are sort of like pinafores are jumpers.
Well, it's funny that you should use the word pinafore because apparently that's what we call it back in Britain.
Pinafores are an apron that can also be used as a dress sometimes. That's it.
That's all. I think I'm going to get out of this perspirator now. Sweater. We talked about it before, but this list wouldn't be complete, of course, without these. Trousers. And you call them
pants.
And if you're interested in knowing a bit more about the history of that word difference, you can look at my YouTube short all about the subject. Well, this past Christmas, I was afforded a very nice Christmas present from Tara's mom, and when I opened it, revealing my surprise, I said, "Oh, look, a very nice dressing gown for this man in his 40s. You don't really call it a dressing gown often in the US, do you? What would you call this?
We call it a robe, but dressing gown is kind of an old-fashioned way that we might say it as well.
Are you saying that in Britain we're old-fashioned?
Yes, although right now you're quite casual.
Casual? I'm in a bathrobe. I mean, well, that is casual. Now, you said robe there. Would you ever refer to this as a bathrobe, as is suggested on that same Wikipedia article?
Sure.
Interesting, because to us, and this was pointed out to me by one of my patrons, a bathrobe back in Britain would be one of those towel material type robes that you get in hotels, you know, the white things.
I think that just refers to the type of cloth, which that's a terry cloth. This one is cotton. It's the same purpose.
Either way, a bathrobe is something you might wear after taking a long plunge, which is something my website did once my blog became a vlog. As time went on, my guilty conscience grew. How could I let LostInThePond.com, the humble birthplace of this not-so-humble channel, become 404'd? Clearly, YouTube superstardom had gone to my head. Thankfully, I partnered with Squarespace to bring it back to life. My website, not my head, which is beyond help. Over the past several weeks, we've been revamping Lost in the Pond's website to make it the ultimate hub for all things pond. And this includes blog posts, or memos as we call them. Basically, it's me, but in the written form, meaning you can read the articles in my voice. There's even a special Do That Now button that points you back to my videos in case you ever get lost on the internet highway. Anyway, if you need a website to showcase your passions and or dreams, you can try Squarespace for free for 14 days. Get your free trial at Squarespace today, and once your website is ready for liftoff, go to squarespace.com/lostinthepond and you'll save 10% on your first website or domain purchase. The link is in my description below.
The next one is a clothing item that we do have in this house, but we think it's in the dirty laundry, so we didn't want to pull it out. And that is the legwear that's mostly associated with sports and Walmart.
Sweatpants.
Sweatpants? No. Sweatpants was a term that I only learned after moving to the United States. When I was a kid, I had about 3 pairs of these things, because you do when you're a kid. And to me, they were jogging bottoms. The funny thing is, I never really did any jogging in them. Tara, one item of clothing that I often see worn by suburban Sue is a sort of sleeveless puffer jacket thing. And it reminded me that, again, as a kid, I had one of these, a black one, that when I wore it, I thought I looked like Han Solo. And I refer to this as a body warmer, which is a bit confusing because it only warms your torso, not the whole of your body. But what do you refer to this as, if you do have a name for it? I don't even know. I've never asked you.
I think it's a vest. It's like a, puffer vest or, I don't know, sleeveless jacket, a life preserver.
Oh, Back to the Future reference. I also had a red one. It's so funny that you called it a vest. This does line up with some of the things I've read online, but it's not the only thing that you refer to as a vest, is it?
No, a vest is a category of garment, so you can have a vest for outerwear, like the puffer vest, a vest that goes with maybe a tuxedo.
Well, like a waistcoat, because in Britain we definitely refer to that as a waistcoat.
And we would have 120 years ago.
Well, there might be a reason that we don't refer to those things as vests anymore, and that's because the word vest in Britain specifically means that type of garment worn by Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire. In America, presumably to avoid further confusion over the word vest, you refer to it as what?
A tank top or an undershirt.
This one is near and dear to my heart because many years ago I played Winston Smith in a university production of 1984, and in that they had us all wear what we refer to as boiler suits, those things that just cover your entire body, and they're usually dark blue, navy blue. I don't know why that is, but they are. But you don't call them boiler suits. In fact, when I brought this up to you earlier, you were confused by that term. What would you refer to these as?
Just coveralls.
Oh, that's weird. This gets weirder. What am I doing with the mic? It's all weird. Well, with those, it gets even more confusing still because you refer to them as coveralls. An alternate name that we have for them in Britain is simply overalls. Once again, they're all over your body. It makes sense. Overalls means something else to you, doesn't it?
An overall just has the straps. So it is over your body, but it gets straps at the top, kind of like my dress, and then the rest of it is an overall.
Okay, so that's why I was confused when I moved here, because to us, I've always known that as dungarees. Have you ever heard that word?
Only from you, and it's very silly.
Dungarees. It's a word that actually comes from Hindi, and I suspect that the reason that there's a difference here is that the British, of course, had a lot of involvement in India through their empire, and America didn't.
That said, it turns out that some Americans might use dungarees to refer to denim jeans.
Okay, well, if I've learned anything from this video, it is that wearing a sweater indoors in May truly makes you sweat and jump. Have you learned anything today, or is this stuff you already knew?
Both.
Both.
Let us know in the comments which words you use for these clothes. And of course, you can go and join our Patreon at patreon.com/lostinthepond if you would like to know even more about some of the more niche, silly phrases that we use for clothing and other words.
Yes, because I talk about them on my secret live streams. In addition to Patreon, you can also click the join button below to become a YouTube member. Until the next video.
Goodbye.